Now, of course, the crossover that is about to happen is going to be peak storytelling. Because, of course, we have to set the bar high as Marvel and DC just announced a crossover. Now, as far as Marvel and DC, I already know who's under that IP. So I don't have to basically remind you who are the top tier superheroes on planet Earth. And both companies are about to collaborate as far as this comic crossover. Now, of course, this is going to be the first time in over 2 decades for a 2-part crossover event. The release date hasn't been announced yet, but when it was initially revealed that they was doing a crossover as far as Marvel and DC, it was at Comics Pro Summit in Glendale, California. Now, of course, a lot of people may be thinking that because of DC and Marvel crossing over in the comics realm is because of financial reasons, right? I know a lot of people say that back in, I believe the first ever collaboration was in 1976 with DC and Marvel crossover, which was Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. So a lot of people was attributing that to low comic book sales, which that has a lot of credence, because if you don't know, the reason why all the rights were all over the place on Marvel's side, as far as Spider-Man, X-Men being split up amongst Sony, and I think X-Men was with Universal, I forget. But anyways, Marvel, you know, of course, ran by Stan Lee, sold the rights to Spider-Man and X-Men because of financial issues, right? You're hurting for cash, and the quickest way to accumulate revenue is to basically license your IP to other brands to use. So that's what happened with Spider-Man and X-Men. That's why the MCU took so long to get them back under the same umbrella. Even Fantastic Four was under another company. I forget which one, but I think it was the same one that X-Men was under, but I forget. So anyways, a lot of people think these type of collaborative efforts are made whenever financial standings are not at the highest, right? And technically, when they first collaborated, it definitely boosted the sales of comic books because, I mean, it's Marvel and DC crossing over. It's a huge deal, right? And of course, when they collaborated, all the sales went up as far as comic books. But another reason that they came out and said that this decision was made was because of Dan DiDio. I was trying to pronounce his name right. I don't even know if I did it right. I think I butchered his name. But Dan DiDio, a former DC publisher, basically came out and said that he halted the crossover because he wanted more competitive nature in the comic book realm, and of course wanted to focus more on DC's own characters and not having to rely on Marvel crossovers to boost sales, right? So the only reason that people would probably come to as far as them making a collaborative effort at this point is because of the comic book sales. That's honestly what people would probably look at as far as Marvel and DC coming together. Because if y'all don't know, I'm not going to say it's like gang related, but as far as Marvel and DC, they are forever competing against one another. So for them to collaborate, something drastic must have happened in the comic book realm for them to be like, you know what, let's team up to boost our sales, right? So if you was wondering, as far as all of the crossovers when it came to DC and Marvel, the first ever crossover, like I said, it was Superman and Amazing Spider-Man back in 1976. And then, of course, when in 1994, when the decline in comic sales was happening, Marvel and DC collaborated once more with DC versus Marvel in 1996, which, to bring it back full circle, is why people think this 2025 collaborative effort is because of the comics not selling as well currently. So with that being said, when Disney had acquisition of Marvel and later on, of course, 20th Century Fox, it influenced Marvel crossover strategies, and this was one of them as far as them collaborating with DC once more, right? So with that being said, this whole entire crossover project between Marvel and DC is going to be led by Marie Javins, DC editor-in-chief, CB Cebulski. Hopefully I said that right. I'm not even trying to be funny. I definitely butcher your name, my brother. But that's the Marvel editor-in-chief. And then the other contributors, as far as on the Marvel side, you have Dan Buckley, Savan Larson, Tom Brevoort. What is his names? Jeff Youngquist. And then on the DC side, you have Reza Lokman, Alex Taylor, Amy Brockway Metcalf, Jake Hogan, and then David Alsop. So those are the contributors on the respective Marvel and DC sides. And of course, the artists involved in this crossover collaborative effort is Jim Lee, Scott Williams, and Alex Sinclair. Now, as far as comic books, right, I'm a huge superhero fan. I probably should have started with that, but if y'all don't know, I'm a huge fanatic when it comes to superhero content. I love currently what they're doing with The Boys and Invincible. I think that's the peak superhero content currently being put out into the masses, which is why I think this is great that Marvel and DC are collaborating, because they're probably thinking to themselves, if these mature type of storylines are starting to get more traction, we should try to take back the main headlines, because right now Invincible is on the rise. I don't know if y'all been noticing, but Invincible is becoming one of the more popular superheroes on Earth. So with that character on the rise, that is a red flag to Batman, to Spider-Man. Not saying that Invincible will ever surpass their popularity, but as far as trajectory, Invincible has been receiving way more fans year on end as far as the past 2 years than Spider-Man Batman, right? Because Spider-Man Batman is already at an all-time peak as far as fans, but Invincible is probably the fastest growing superhero in popularity currently. Probably Invincible, and then Omni-Man and Homelander. They're probably up there as far as the most popular superheroes as far as how fast they're rising in popularity. But overall, of course, by far and away is still Spider-Man, it's still Batman, it's still Superman. But one of the things about the market is you have to recognize your competitors or you're going to fall to the wayside. So here comes a DC and Marvel collab. Now, of course, the last major crossover that I did not note was the Justice League and Avengers crossover that was back in 2003. So as far as these Marvel and DC crossovers, of course, they're so iconic because not only is Batman, Spider-Man interacting, all these other DC and Marvel characters interacting, but of course, when you reprint these Marvel DC collabs, which they did in 2024, they reprint the past Marvel / DC stories, and of course, it was a commercial success. So when it comes to all these collaborations, it's not just for no reason. Like, obviously, you know, they're wanting to look at the bottom line and see a significant jump in revenue. And what better way to give fans what they want as far as, I mean, essentially fan fiction at this point. Spider-Man and Batman interacting is not really as often as people would hope, because they're on two different companies that's not beefing with each other, but competing with one another. So a lot of the fan speculation ran rampant when this announcement was made. And so for me, I ain't gonna lie to you, I started to think in my brain, I was like, hold up now, what type of collaborative effort would I want to see from Marvel and DC? And so me being the superhero fanatic that I've been for my whole life, of course, I got to start with Spider-Man. And the DC character I want to see him interact with is, of course, Batman. I think it makes all the sense in the world, a Spider-Man and Batman type of interaction in the comics, like a whole storyline, not just a, oh, what's up, and then go about your day as far as the world-ending threat, right? Like, I need a Spider-Man and Batman storyline because I think that would be amazing. Now, as far as Superman, I'm not the biggest fan of Superman. This man got all the powers in the world. I don't see how that's intriguing to anybody. So when it comes to Superman, I think him interacting with Iron Man, and yes, you have to stick with me, because y'all probably thinking the Hulk, y'all probably thinking Captain America. I think Iron Man, especially after the success of the MCU, I think Superman and Iron Man will be the greatest story. Well, not the greatest, but one of the best interactions in the Marvel DC crossover, for the simple fact you could go at the standpoint of Superman not convinced that Iron Man is a good guy, because of course he goes against Lex Luthor, and who's Lex Luthor, like you know, come on now, like Iron Man, Lex Luthor, like come on now. So Superman could have an interesting arc with Iron Man, with him actually trusting Iron Man as a superhero, which, you know, Superman's kind of a easy going guy. It's really no, like, that's why I just don't like Superman. Like, he just got all the powers in the world. He's non-problematic. Like, he's just like, no wonder Batman just whoops him with the green rock for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And obviously I know it's kryptonite. I'm making a joke. So other collaborative efforts I want to see besides Spider-Man, Batman, besides Superman, Iron Man, I do want to see Wonder Woman and I'm trying to think. I was thinking of Storm. Like, I was thinking Wonder Woman and Storm, but the more I think about it, I want more of a Wonder Woman, Storm, and Black Panther type of dynamic, you know, because I want Wakanda, and I want what's Wonder Woman's place called? Woman, let me see, location. I forgot what her stuff was called. Let me see. The island of, oh, that's why I forgot. What is the I swear it's not called that. There's no way it's called that. I thought it was something more simple. No, like, where was she born? Hold up. because I totally forgot the name. Oh, that's actually what it's called. Okay, I can't pronounce that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna let the AI do it, because what in the actual
Island of Themyscira.
Yeah, Themyscira. There you go. I was definitely gonna butcher that. So I did not think it was Themyscira. I thought it was something else that was called. But anyways, wherever Wonder Woman's from, right? The all the Amazonian people, right? I think them interacting with Wakanda people, I think that would be a great tidbit in the Marvel DC crossover. And of course, I throw Storm in there because we couldn't make it to where Black Panther and Storm are together, because they've been together in multiple comics. So having those three together, I think would be perfect. And then of course, last but not least, I think so I already gave three: Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man, Superman, Wonder Woman, and Black Panther and Storm, right? And then you have to throw Wolverine in there because he's like one of the most popular Marvel characters. So I'll say Wolverine. And I'm not gonna lie, as far as Wolverine, like, okay, how much can you really do with the character? Like, this man he has knives coming out of his. I never got the intrigue of Wolverine, but since he's immensely popular, I think you have to put him with like maybe Wolverine in the Flash, maybe Wolverine, Flash, and Deadpool. I think that'd be fire. But I'm just throwing like collaborative ideas out there. Obviously, they probably already got the story set in stone. I'm just giving my, what I would want. I think Wolverine, Deadpool, and Flash will be fire. So yeah, those are the top 4 collaborative stories that I want to see. I want to see a Spider-Man, Batman collab story, like a whole story. I wouldn't even be mad if it's just those two with other characters from DC and Marvel popping in. Like, I think a centric Batman and Spider-Man collab would be fire. I know I left Doctor Strange out, but I can't get to everybody, right? As far as Iron Man and Superman, I think that could be an interesting dynamic. As far as Wonder Woman being in Wakanda, I think that may be the best story that they could put together, because that's like untapped gold mine right there, as far as them being from the respective places where it's just everything's just phenomenal. Like the order, the structure, the overall leadership in itself, especially Wonder Woman. Maybe obviously she couldn't be like one of the Wakandan soldiers, you know what I mean? I don't think she has the complexion for that. But as far as her respecting an all-female type of soldier army, right? I think she would be the best one to incorporate in that story. And then of course, Flash and Deadpool's dynamic, I think that would be very interesting if they write it correctly. But out of those 4, I ain't gonna lie to you, the Wonder Woman and Wakanda, I think that'd be fire. And Spider-Man, Batman, I think that's the main thing I would want to see. As far as Captain America, same thing with Superman. Like, what can you do with Captain? Like, he's just throwing around a circle. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand, right? He's just, certain characters just like, I understand the respective fan base, but the whole thing that I get as far as, intrigued by is the duality of a person. You know what I mean? How relatable can the superhero be? You know what I mean? How relatable can Superman, Captain America really be? Like a man that lives forever and another guy that lives forever that has all the powers in the world. Like Captain America being like 200 years old to grow up and then date like his crush. His crush back when he was in the old times, right? And he got, obviously this was just in the MCU, but he got older, or he got frozen and then unfrozen or thawed out or whatever. And then he ended up dating like her great daughter or great aunt. I was like, hold up now. We're Kendrick when you need him. Anyways, so with that being said, that's the biggest crossovers I would like to see happen. But as far as a release date, we don't have that yet. But them even announcing that a Marvel and DC collab is coming is pivotal, especially for comic book sales. As there's probably a reason why they're doing this collab at this point in time. So with that being said, click my link tree in my bio. Let me know on one of my social medias. What do you think about Marvel and DC teaming up for, in the first time in over 2 decades, for a 2-part crossover event? And what interactions do you want to see the most in this Marvel DC crossover collab?